Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment in every human life when we realize a painful truth. People do not always value us because we are kind, available, or hardworking. In fact, very often the more we chase validation, the less we receive it. Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in psychology, taught us that the world does not respond to what we say we are, but to what we embody. And when you embody value, something strange happens. People who once ignored you begin to seek you, respect you, and yes, sometimes even beg for your presence, your approval, your time. The first and most powerful truth you must understand is this: the way people treat you is a reflection of the way you treat yourself. This is not a motivational slogan, it is a psychological law. Carl Jung believed that the unconscious constantly communicates through behavior, posture, tone, and decisions. Long before anyone hears your words, they sense your level of self-respect. And that silent signal determines whether they value you or dismiss you. Self-respect begins the moment you stop negotiating with your own conscience. Every time you say yes when your inner voice says no, you teach the world that your boundaries are flexible, that your needs are secondary, that your presence is cheap. People may not consciously think this, but unconsciously, they feel it. Jung taught that what is unconscious has more power than what is conscious. So when you disrespect yourself in small ways, others respond to that energy without ever realizing why. Many people confuse self-respect with arrogance. They believe valuing themselves means becoming loud, dominant, or aggressive. In reality, true self-respect is quiet. It does not beg, it does not chase, and it does not perform. It stands firm. It is the calm confidence of someone who knows they can walk away and still be whole. That calmness unsettles people who are used to controlling others through guilt, fear, or approval. When you respect yourself, you stop tolerating what drains you. You no longer laugh at jokes that humiliate you. You no longer stay silent when you are repeatedly ignored. And you no longer remain loyal to people who are disloyal to you. This does not make you cruel, it makes you honest. Jung believed that repression creates neurosis. When you repress your self-respect to keep peace, the conflict does not disappear, it turns inward and weakens you. And a weakened person is easy to overlook. The world is always watching how much you tolerate. If you tolerate disrespect, it becomes the standard. If you tolerate inconsistency, it becomes normal. But the moment you change what you allow, the entire dynamic shifts. Some people will resist this change. They will accuse you of being different, selfish, or cold. In reality, they are reacting to the loss of control. When you raise your self-respect, you force others to rise in how they treat you or fall away. Self-respect is also reflected in how you speak about yourself. Jung warned about the danger of self-sabotaging narratives. When you constantly diminish yourself, joke about your worth, or downplay your achievements, your unconscious broadcasts inferiority. People take permission from you. They think, if they don't take themselves seriously, why should I? Words shape identity, and identity shapes behavior. When you change the way you speak about yourself, you change how others experience you. Another hidden aspect of self-respect is patience. People who respect themselves do not rush to prove their value. They do not force connections or chase validation. They allow time to reveal their depth. In psychology, what is scarce is perceived as valuable. When you are always available, always responding, always accommodating, your presence loses weight. But when you respect your time and energy, people begin to sense that your attention is something to be earned, not assumed. Jung emphasized the importance of the ego, not the inflated ego, but the healthy ego that knows its limits and its worth. A weak ego seeks approval to survive. A healthy ego stands on its own. When you develop this inner stability, you stop reacting emotionally to disrespect. Instead of anger or desperation, you respond with distance. And distance is powerful. Distance creates reflection. It makes people feel the absence of what they took for granted. Self-respect also means accepting that not everyone will like you, and that this is not a failure. The desire to be universally liked is a form of self-abandonment. Jung believed that individuation requires separation from the collective mindset. When you choose authenticity over acceptance, you automatically become selective. Some will admire you deeply, others will reject you strongly. Both reactions are signs that you are no longer invisible. The most dangerous lie people believe is that giving more will make them valued. In reality, Giving without self-respect leads to exploitation, not appreciation. Appreciation grows when people sense that you are choosing to give, not compelled by fear of loss. When you give from strength, it feels different. It carries weight. It commands respect. As you strengthen your self-respect, something remarkable happens. Conversations change. People listen more carefully. Interruptions decrease. Promises are kept. Your absence is noticed, not because you demanded it, but because your inner posture changed. Jung would say that the psyche reorganizes itself around a stronger center. And when your center is strong, the external world reorganizes around you. This is why self-respect is the foundation of all value. Without it, strategies fail, confidence collapses, and relationships become exhausting. With it, you do not need to convince anyone of your worth. Your presence does the work for you. One of the most powerful psychological shifts a person can make is learning to create and protect boundaries. Carl Jung understood that the human psyche needs borders just as a nation does. Without them, there is chaos, invasion, and loss of identity. When your psychological boundaries are weak, people unconsciously sense it. They step over your time, your energy, your emotions, not always out of cruelty, but because nothing signals them to stop. Value is born the moment boundaries appear. Boundaries are not loud declarations. They are quiet decisions followed by consistent behavior. You do not need to announce them to the world. In fact, the strongest boundaries are rarely spoken. They are felt. When you stop replying immediately, when you no longer explain every decision, when you remove yourself from situations that drain you, people notice. And when people notice change, they begin to reassess your worth. Jung believed that a person who cannot separate their identity from others remains psychologically immature. This is why those who fear setting boundaries often feel guilt. They believe distance means rejection. But boundaries are not rejection, they are self-definition. When you define where you end and others begin, you give your personality shape, and what has shape can be respected. Many people overgive because they fear being forgotten. Ironically, this behavior produces the opposite effect. When you are always available, always accommodating, you become predictable and psychologically invisible. The human mind values contrast. Presence only feels valuable when absence exists. Boundaries create that contrast. They introduce scarcity, and scarcity awakens appreciation. There is a deep psychological reason why people begin to value you more when you stop overextending yourself. When access to you becomes limited, the unconscious mind starts asking questions. Why are they less available? What changed? Am I losing so mething? These questions trigger attention and respect. Jung taught that what the psyche fears losing gains immediate importance. Boundaries activate this mechanism naturally. Setting boundaries also reveals who truly values you. Some people will respect your limits and adjust their behavior. Others will resist, guilt trip, or attempt to cross them again. This reaction is not a problem, it is information. Jung emphasized the importance of becoming conscious of shadow dynamics. Those who benefit from your lack of boundaries often react negatively when you develop them. Their discomfort exposes the imbalance that existed all along. A powerful boundary is emotional containment. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. When you share everything with everyone, your emotions lose depth and privacy. Jung believed that the psyche needs sacred spaces. When you choose carefully whom you open up to, your words carry more weight. People listen differently when they sense that your inner world is protected, not scattered. Boundaries also change how conflict works in your life. Without boundaries, conflict becomes personal and exhausting. With boundaries, conflict becomes clean and limited. You address what matters and ignore what does not. You stop defending your entire identity and start protecting your peace. This emotional discipline signals maturity, and maturity commands respect. Another overlooked boundary is consistency. When your boundaries change depending on who you are with, people learn to test you. But when your standards remain steady, even when it costs you comfort, people stop pushing. Jung believed that the psyche seeks stability. A person with consistent boundaries feels solid, reliable, and psychologically safe to respect. As boundaries strengthen, something subtle happens. You begin to move differently in the world. Your posture changes. your tone becomes calmer. Your responses become shorter but firmer. These nonverbal signals are powerful. The unconscious mind of others reads them instantly. They feel your self-definition without you saying a word. People do not value you because you demand it. They value you because your boundaries force them to. When you no longer accept crumbs, only those willing to offer substance remain. And those people treat you with a level of seriousness that once seemed impossible. Jung would say that boundaries are not barriers to connection, but prerequisites for real connection. Only when two whole individuals meet, separated yet defined, can respect exist. When you master boundaries, you stop trying to be needed and start being valued. There is a hidden form of power that most people underestimate, and that power is silence combined with restraint. Carl Jung understood that not everything within us needs to be expressed immediately, and not every emotion deserves an outward reaction. In a world addicted to noise, constant explanation, and emotional display, the person who can remain composed becomes rare. And rarity in the human psyche is instantly associated with value. Most people feel an intense urge to respond, to defend themselves, to correct misunderstandings, to prove their worth, to win arguments. This urge comes from insecurity, not strength. Jung believed that what disturbs us externally is always connected to something unresolved internally. When you react impulsively, you hand your emotional center to someone else. You allow them to control your mood, your energy, and your behavior. Restraint, on the other hand, keeps your center intact. Silence is not weakness, it is containment. When you choose not to speak, not to react, not to justify yourself, you create psychological pressure. The other person begins to fill the silence with their own thoughts, assumptions, and doubts. This shifts the balance of power. Jung taught that the unconscious mind is deeply uncomfortable with uncertainty. When you do not immediately explain yourself, others project meaning onto your silence, often attributing depth, confidence, or authority to you. Restraint also protects your inner world. Not every opinion needs to be shared, and not every feeling needs an audience. When you express everything, you dilute your emotional intensity. But when you choose carefully what to reveal, your words carry weight. People listen more closely because they know you do not speak carelessly. Jung emphasized that psychic energy is finite. Wasting it on unnecessary reactions leaves you drained and exposed. There is also a profound effect of restraint in conflict. When someone provokes you and you do not react emotionally, you disrupt their expectations. Many people rely on predictable reactions to feel powerful. When you deny them that reaction, they lose control of the situation. Your calm becomes a mirror, reflecting their agitation back to them. In that moment, you appear grounded while they appear unstable, and this contrast creates respect. Silence forces others to confront themselves. When you argue, you give them something to push against. When you remain silent, they are left alone with their own words and behavior. Jung believed that self-confrontation is one of the most uncomfortable psychological experiences. Silence invites that confrontation without aggression. It is a quiet assertion of strength. Restraint also teaches people how to treat you. If you immediately respond to disrespect with emotional intensity, you signal that you are easily triggered. But if you pause, observe, and respond only when necessary, you establish yourself as someone who cannot be easily manipulated. This emotional discipline is deeply attractive on a psychological level. People instinctively trust those who are not ruled by their impulses. Another dimension of silence is mystery. When people know everything about you, your psychological impact weakens. Jung spoke of the importance of the unknown in human relationships. Mystery keeps the psyche engaged. When you do not instantly reveal your plans, your thoughts, or your emotions, people begin to pay closer attention. They become curious. Curiosity is a form of value. Restraint also strengthens your self-respect. Every time you choose not to react, you affirm that your peace matters more than winning an argument. This internal reinforcement builds confidence. Over time, you no longer feel the need to prove yourself. And when you stop trying to prove your worth, others start sensing it naturally. In leadership, in relationships, and in life, the person who controls their reactions controls the atmosphere. Jung believed that emotional contagion is powerful, but only when emotions are uncontrolled. When you remain calm, You stabilize the emotional field around you. Others adjust to your level, rather than pulling you down to theirs. People begin to value you not because you are louder, but because you are steadier. Not because you explain more, but because you explain less. Silence and restraint communicate that you are centered, self-aware, and not desperate for validation. And in a world full of noise, the calm presence becomes unforgettable. One of the deepest reasons people fail to be valued is not because they lack talent, kindness, or intelligence, but because they have not yet become fully themselves. Carl Jung called this lifelong psychological process individuation, the journey of integrating all parts of the self and standing as a whole, distinct individual. When you are not whole, borrow identity from others. When you are whole, you become irreplaceable, and the human psyche instinctively values what cannot be replaced. Most people live in fragments. They adapt their personality depending on who is watching. They wear masks to fit expectations, suppressing parts of themselves to gain approval. Jung believed that this fragmentation weakens the psyche and creates inner conflict. When you are divided within, the world senses that division. People may not know why, but they feel a lack of solidity, a lack of presence, and what feels unstable is rarely valued. Individuation begins when you stop performing and start integrating. This means accepting both your strengths and your flaws without apology. It means no longer hiding the parts of yourself that do not fit social expectations. Jung taught that the shadow, the rejected parts of the self, does not disappear when ignored. It grows stronger and leaks out unconsciously. But when you face and integrate it, you gain depth. Depth is magnetic. People are drawn to those who feel real rather than polished. An individuated person does not seek to be liked by everyone. They understand that authenticity naturally creates polarity. Some will resonate deeply, others will feel uncomfortable. This discomfort often comes from unconscious comparison. When someone stands fully in themselves, they reflect what others have not yet faced within. Jung believed this is why strong individuals often provoke strong reactions. Indifference is rare. Respect or resistance is more common. Both are signs of impact. Irreplaceability is born from alignment. When your values, actions, and inner beliefs match, you move through life with a quiet certainty. You are no longer trying to become someone else. You are no longer imitating success, confidence, or charisma. You become a reference point. People begin to feel that replacing you would require replacing an entire way of being, not just a role or function. This is why people who are fully individuated often appear calm under pressure. They are not acting, they are being. Their responses come from an integrated self rather than from fear or approval seeking. Jung believed that the psyche functions best when it is unified. A unified person radiates stability, and stability is deeply valuable in an unpredictable world. Individuation also frees you from comparison. When you know who you are, you stop measuring yourself against others. This inner independence changes how you interact. You no longer compete for attention or validation. You collaborate without shrinking and stand firm without aggression. This balanced energy makes people feel secure around you, and security fosters respect. Another powerful aspect of individuation is purpose. An individuated person moves with direction. Even when the path is unclear, they are guided by inner meaning rather than external applause. Jung believed that meaning is the true driver of the human soul. When others sense that you are driven by something deeper than approval, they treat you with seriousness. Your words carry weight because they come from conviction, not convenience. As you become more individuated, you naturally become selective. You invest your time and energy where there is mutual respect. You are no longer afraid of being alone, because you are not internally divided. This self-sufficiency is rare, and rarity creates value. People begin to feel that your presence is a choice, not a necessity, and this elevates how they treat you. Individuation does not make you distant or cold. It makes you grounded. You can connect deeply without losing yourself. You can give without emptying yourself. You can stand alone without feeling abandoned. Jung believed this balance is the mark of psychological maturity. When you become whole, you stop being interchangeable. Your presence cannot be substituted. Your perspective cannot be replicated, and your absence is felt. Not because you demanded attention, but because you finally stood in your truth.